session. Okay, today, basically this week is probably going to be the last week of major volatility for the year. Okay, as I'm showing you here, and you can see on my screen, there is plenty of data this week. It is quite a heavy week. Okay, next week probably is going to be a lot lighter, and also don't forget Christmas, I think, falls on next Thursday. Incidentally, there's really only 2 days that the FX markets are closed for the entire year, and it's usually Christmas and first and the New Year's Day. Okay, Boxing Day, every other day the markets will be there. Obviously there might be a lot slower, not as much liquidity as normal. So this week that is unfolding now tends to be the final week of the heavy volume. Okay, and also in terms of the volatility from news. Now, trying to pick out what's to look out for this week. Essentially, I can't help but ignore all the US data that's coming out on Thursday. Okay, we have a little bit on Wednesday as well, and on Friday. Match that up also with the GBP data that is coming up. So over here, GBP, and here GBP. It gives us this week our most volatile pair is probably going to be our GBP USD. Okay, so keep that on your calendar just so that you are aware. You can see it's dominated pretty much, from tomorrow all the way through to Friday. Just be aware of what's happening when and where, so that you can position yourself accordingly. On the Aussie front, there's a little bit, pretty much that's about it from what I can see. Of course, don't forget the other side of the equation, so anything US is also going to affect the Aussie dollar. Okay, and the only other one to look out for is the monetary policy statement over here from Japan. Now, the inside word is, at the moment, when I say the inside, what I'm basically referring to, I don't have any insider type information, but what I'm referring to is from most analysts inside the industry, they're of the belief that pretty much the BOJ has stopped buying exchange traded funds for the year. So what that basically means, if the government has stopped buying ETFs, they're stopping the flooding of extra currency into the system, which basically means when they flood the system with more money, they're weakening their currency. So essentially it could start to have a bit of a hold for the year. And when we look at our charts, I'll talk a little bit more about it so that you can understand exactly the effect. You can particularly see it on the US yen. Okay, so this week GBP USD is the one to look out for. There is a little bit of euro as well, but probably the GBP USD is the volatile one. Okay, again, just a reminder that these times that you can see here on my left hand side, they're in Australian Eastern Standard Daylight Time. Okay, alright, so let's get stuck into it. Let's bring up our charts and let's see what we have. Now, last week when we left the session, we were over here, and I believe I was in a trade, or I had triggered in a trade. You guys had an opportunity to enter at a little bit of a better price than I did. Consequently, look what's happened, and I really want to talk about this so that you can kind of start to understand a little bit more about the markets. I'm just going to zoom in a bit so we can see it a little bit closer. Essentially, the trade that we were looking for triggered right there. Okay, oops, sorry, it triggered at the open of this candle where I'm putting the mark. My stop was just over here, and basically I got stopped out for a loss of this much, this distance there. Consequently, we were monitoring the channel, and if you have a look at this again, the next pair of candles with the fractal was these two over here. Okay, we have a big engulfing candle, so if you're courageous enough, basically the trade was right there, and you're going to try and trade it to the top side of the channel. So it depends if you got out over here somewhere, which is really the same height as that, but over there you had to stay in longer. Essentially you can see that the win is more than this loss over here, so you were ahead. Okay, but more importantly, you also got another opportunity to trade it over here back down. You can see there's the fractal, you have a big inside candle, okay, and as you break it down right there, you had another chance to trade it back down. Did anybody take, there was 3 trades there. Can I just get a show of numbers if you took 1 trade, 2 trades, or none trades? Can you just let me know? Just type it in for me, please. Because we looked at this and we said keep an eye on it. Okay, Brett's taken 1, none, none. Okay, 1. Alright, cool. You got to keep your eyes on these. They are 4-hour candles. For me, I've just been so busy, I didn't see this one. I saw the bottom 2, these 2. I was in that one already, and the bottom 2, but I didn't see this one. I just forgot to come back to it. And I should have really been looking, because I have a heavy bias on shorting the Aussie dollar. Okay, so any kind of pullback, I'm looking for opportunities to short into it again. Alright, so now we're right where we are right now. So what do we do this week? Well, look, this channel's still pretty good if you ask me. So what I'm going to try and do this week is I'm just going to wait to see what happens over here, or wait to see what happens over there. Okay, if you look at every single point where we got there, at most of these points there was trading opportunities, and they were very clear and they were very clean cut. Okay, so basically if the channel continues, you know, we continue to look for trades. Now once again this week Mr. Glenn Stevens came out and said that he feels that fair value for the Aussie dollar is 75. Okay, now that doesn't mean we're going to rush out and hit 75. It's one person's opinion. It just happens to be that, you know, he works for the RBA, and I forgot what his role is. I think he's the treasurer of the RBA. But it's a massive impact. There's a lot of downward pressure on the Aussie dollar. China's economy slowing down, US strengthening. All of these factors are driving it down. Today we're flirting with 82. We got, I think, as low as 82.02. Okay, and I don't feel 82 can hold. There's really nothing in the way of the Aussie dollar. It just wants to continue to go down. If you look at a daily chart, just look at that. It's just going down. There's nothing here to sort of catch it, so to speak. So at the moment, I really don't want to go long. I'm constantly looking for shorting opportunities. Now, when I say I don't really want to go long, we did go long over there. That's still, it's a temporary long. We're trading within a channel. It's perfectly acceptable. Okay, so I guess for this week, Aussie dollar, I don't really have any levels, nothing. I'm really just waiting to take those trades as either back into the channel, back down the channel, or if we finally break out of the channel. Okay, this one up here looks a little bit unlikely, to be honest, but that doesn't mean it can't happen, so you should be looking for it as well. Okay, so those are the 3 trades that we're looking for right now at this particular point in time. We're right in the middle, so I can't really do anything. Okay, does anybody have any questions on anything that's happened, Aussie dollar, any fundamentals or anything like that that you want me to answer for you? Just type it in and I will address it for you. Okay, so this is what we should be looking for this week. Keep trying to trade that channel. Okay, the divergence trade, I don't like it. Okay, so it's not clear cut to me. Okay, all right. Having said that, do I have anything else on the Aussie dollar? One moment, let me just double check one thing. Okay, on a weekly chart, the next significant level happens to fall at 81.38. Okay, now that's still 100 pips south of where we are right now. That would be the next level that we may see a support level, and that's based on Fibonacci taking this low. Now remember, I'm on a weekly chart here, okay, to this high like that, and then extending down all the way to here, which is the 1618 extension, and it happens to fall on 81.38. That's the next level where we may hit, I guess, a bit of traffic or a little bit of buying stepping in, which is normal. Okay, so we're nowhere near that right now. So if you get opportunities to hit the top of that channel, and we get shorting opportunities, they're all valid. Okay. Okay, we'll leave it there. We'll move on to the Euro USD. Phil, I don't know the impact on today's attacks on the city, on the currency. To be honest, it's something abnormal. We just have to just wait and see that one out. To be honest, I don't feel it should impact it too much at all. That's why I haven't mentioned it. Okay. All right. Euro USD. Four-hour chart. Last week we were over here somewhere in this area here, okay, and again I was in a trade, I think, and I got stopped out. I took an inside candle based off that, okay, and I got stopped out for this little bit here. Shortly afterwards we had another. Well, this is not really, if I look at this trio of candles there, it wasn't really a setup, so I actually didn't take that, so I just got stopped out for that little amount. Okay, now we broke right up, okay, and it's pulled back and we're sort of in no man's land right now. So that's the channel that we were observing. Okay, now what I can see on the Euro USD, the best trade that I can actually see is on the daily chart. Let me get rid of these. I'll just leave them there for a moment. Okay, get rid of them now. Let me zoom in. Can anybody see a trade there? If you can, just call it out. What do you think you can see? And give me the direction. Okay, Roy says long, Phil sell, short engulfing. Okay, so no one said what I'm looking for yet. Roy, long? No, I'm not looking for a long. I'm looking for a short. I'm not triggered yet. Lois is not an engulfing candle. Okay, this candle is engulfing that one, the body is, but that would imply that I'm going to go long. Okay, but I'm looking at going short. Yeah, I'll help you out. Okay, there we go, Alan's got it. Inside candle. So remember, we're in a downward trend. Okay, and we are at a fractal. So I said that every time we get a fractal at the top, I want you to inspect the trio of candles right there. Okay, so one in front of the fractal and one after the fractal, and I can see clearly now that this is candle number 2, this is candle number 1. Candle number 2 is contained completely by candle number 1, so therefore candle 2 is an inside candle. Correct? Who agrees with that? Can we all see it now? Who agrees that candle 2 is an inside candle of candle 1? Yep, fantastic, good. Okay, so now how do we trade this? The direction that I want to trade it is down, okay, because we're in a downward trend. Doesn't mean we're going to be right, but this is the direction of higher probability. So the way that we trade it, remember, when we break the low of the inside candles, so where I've just drawn that line, we will short it. Okay. Yep. Alright, now it's very important, if we break the top of that candle that way, well then the short trade is no longer valid, and then you'll have to come back and cancel out your order. Okay, so does that make sense to everybody? So basically we're looking at selling at, let me get a level, the low of this candle is 123.84. let's just go for it. It's a daily candle. Let's go for a 2 pip break. So let's go 84.82. Sell stop. $123.82. Now our stop, we can place it above the fractals, so 124.96, let's make it 125 even. So what's the risk? The risk is 118 pips, so size yourself accordingly. Take profit, I'm going to go to the bottom here at least, 122.50. which makes it a one-to-one trade virtually. And let's place it. It's actually a bit better than one-to-one. I can see there visually. Gavin, I could easily go for a bigger target. What I'll probably do with this one, okay, if it starts to come down, the real target where I want to go, I'll just mark it for you. I'd like to go to about there. That's what, so because if I'm in a downtrend, I'm catching it, and if I've got this correctly, okay, I'm catching it at the top of that, of the pullback, okay, so I'm catching it right there. And then I want to go take out the low and then continue with the journey. So anywhere in here where I've just drawn this circle is a good area visually to place your target. Okay, what I tend to do with this type of trade is just before that bottom there, so around here, I might take out half of my trade just in case it bounces back, kind of like the way that I do London. Okay, and then I'll let the other half go for the next target. All right, now what I'll probably do with this one is I'll run my I'll come back and run my MT4 Supreme Edition on top of this, and it will do this for me automatically. Okay, does that answer your question? So the reality is I've got it set up to as a one-to-one trade, the way that I've just punched the order in. It is a high probability trade, probably about 60-65%. all right, because I'm in a downtrend. But if I go for this target down here, you can see it's easily a 2-to-1 type trade. Okay. All right. So that's the Euro USD. Now, if you remember the last trade that I think it was the one that I called out through Twitter. Okay, it was these two candles, which was an inside candle. It was inside candle and a little bit engulfing. So if you apply the same principle, we entered there, and then the stop was just there, and you can see that we took out that low, and you can see the kind of distance that you made, and you can see that this distance there is clearly, it's about 2.5 to 1. Okay, so that's the principle. So if this was to work out, ideally we've got to break through that and come down there somewhere. All right, all good. Okay, let's see if there's anything else on the Euro USD. No, that's pretty much it. That's all we got. Okay, so the Euro USD, we've got a pending order to sell. Just don't forget that if this candle breaks the top of the candle just before, come back and cancel your order out. Okay, all right, let's move on. Oh, one last thing while I'm still on the Euro, which I forgot to mention. Apparently in the next January meeting is when they're going to bring up and discuss at length any quantitative easing policies that may be implemented. Okay, that's in January, which is the next meeting for the Euro. Alright, so generally what that means is that the market trades tentatively in the build up towards that, in anticipation of what may come about. The only thing with the Euro is that they've been saying this for such a long time, so kind of nobody cares about it. But I just sort of mentioned it so that you know. Apparently they will be discussing this issue in the January meeting, and from memory I think it happens around about the 15th. Okay, alright, GBP USD. So this is the one that we've singled out to be the volatile one for the week. Okay, there's a couple of things here. There's something that's probably going to pop within about the next 2 to 3 hours. So if you want to trade, there's going to be a trade over here. I'm pretty certain of it. Okay, now can everybody see? Is it obvious what we're looking at? Please, just can someone spell it out to me? Thank you. Thanks, Brett. Okay, so we have a channel. It's established. I've got 2 touches at the top, 2 at the bottom. Anything that happened to the left of that line that I drew, we were not able to trade. So there's no point looking at it. Forget about it. It was impossible because up until that point, I did not know it was a channel. Okay? Anything that happens to the right, I should be able to jump all over. So let's analyze it. Let's see what we got. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, we have, so if we apply our price action principles, every time we come to the top, I want to inspect any candle that has a fractal. So here's the last set to look at. Let's ignore this one. And these two, what have we got? What have I got there? Inside candles, great. So this one here is candle number 2. That one there is candle number 1. Okay, it's unanimous. Everybody's seen that. So what are we looking for? We're looking for, and what direction? Okay, yes. By the way, everybody can see each other's comments, right? Can someone just say yes for that? Yes, you can. Fantastic. Great. So I don't have to call every single one out. I'm just adjusting. Okay. So we've got inside candles. All right. So we're waiting for the break. So let's have a closer look. Is the inside candle still valid? Yes or no? Okay. Well, we're all wrong, guys. It's no longer valid. This is the top of the inside candle, and this is the bottom of the inside candle, and we've broken the top. Can you see that? Can everybody see that we broke the top? The trade that we're looking for, by the way, is this. We're looking to trade it short. Okay? We did get the setup. Candle number 1, great. This one down here, candle number 2, fantastic. Okay? But candle number 3, which is the candle that we're supposed to trade off, to break out of, it's broken. Okay, so interesting comment here. Phil is saying that candle number 3, let's label it so that we don't get confused. So this one here, he is saying that candle number 3 is still inside of candle number 1. Okay, so based on that, Phil is basically saying, why don't you trade when you break candle number 1's low? Okay, now that's an interesting one. I would not trade that, because in theory candle 3 exceeded candle 2, okay, and it's not the way that you trade it. So for all intensive purposes, this is null and void. The opportunity did not pan out. We're looking for the short, we broke up, it's come back in. Okay, Gavin's now saying candle 3 is a nice high test and the awesome oscillator is wavering. Okay, yes, granted that we are touching the top and the temptation to jump on this trade is very, very big. Now, if you trade it right now, I'm not saying it's not going to work, okay, but it is a trade with a lower probability than if it was one that met our conditions, okay, because we were trying to trade the top of a channel with price action behind us. If we just trade it right now, what we're really just doing is just trading the top of a channel, okay, now, which could be okay. There's something better here. Let me show you. And this is, okay, Lois is saying, what about the small pattern? Aha, here we go. Good thinking. What I want to show you is this. I can see that in here, let me point, that in here, there is a converging triangle as well. Okay, so let me show it to you and show you another way that we can trade it. I'm going to step down one time division. I'm going to step down into a 1 hour chart, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and let's see if you can see the pattern now. Can everybody see the triangle now? Nice, well done. So I'll have to give Lois 2 brownie points for that. Okay, very well spotted. Now we can still apply everything that we know to a triangle with the channel and price action. We should be able to get a very easy entry into this trade now. Okay, so if I want to trade short, and everybody's wanting to trade short because we're right at the top of that channel, okay, if we want to trade short, what we're looking for is we're looking for the candle to close underneath, take out that, and I'm happy to trade. Okay, and there's still plenty of room before you get to the other side of the channel. Okay, and if you wait for that, that is going to give you a much higher probability trade. Okay, because we're in a triangle, and in theory we've come from underneath, so we can easily continue in the other direction. Okay, so this channel may be just about ready to fail. Does everybody understand what I'm trying to put across as a message? Okay, so now we're going to apply price action when we get to the fringes, and we're going to apply the triangle and the channel. And I'm pretty sure that within about 4 or 5 hours we're going to bust out of here and we're going to trade. Alright, so keep this one on your radar. Alright, you will get a trade. I don't have it right now, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see one. Okay, so stay on it. We need to bust out. We want a nice candle to close below, take out some lows, and then you can jump on it. Okay, if I go back to the 4-hour chart, it's not as obvious. You can see there's my triangle there, and you can see even if this candle comes and closes down here, look how much room there is. There's a lot of room. Okay, and if it closes up here, well, then you're going to great trade as well. Keep an eye on this one, guys. There will be a trade here. Alright, okay, that's all I got for you on the Euro USD. I can't actually place the trade because I don't know the levels. Everybody understands that. Is there a bit of divergence here as well? No, just ignore it. Okay, so this one's pretty clear. We're going to trade a triangle inside a channel. Let's move on. Gold. Okay, last week I was using this, oops, wrong one, this high over here, and I had the line like that because I didn't know where the high was. It looks like now it's over here. Okay, and we may be getting ready to form that triangle that we spoke of. Now it is a daily chart, alright, so it's going to take a while, so be patient, but you're going to get, as soon as this gets to about here somewhere, then I can say that yes, from here onwards we're ready to apply our principles and start to look for trades inside there. As far as we are right now, I kind of can't really do anything. I'm just going to have to sit it out and wait it. I really want to trade this big triangle because this could be our best trade for the next 5 months, for example, because there's a lot of distance. There's a lot of distance and a lot of opportunity here. We just have to be patient with it and see where it takes us. All right. So, who do we have many gold traders in the room today? I know quite a few like gold. Okay, fantastic. So just be patient with this one. Let the pattern form a little bit better, and then we should be able to see something else. Let me just step into a 4-hour chart and see if there's anything showing there. Okay, what the only thing that I can see, when you trade inside a larger time frame pattern, look out for these kind of things. Look at this there. It's a nice flag that went down. Okay, look there. It's a nice triangle that broke up. Look in here. Okay, there's nothing here. It's not quite. There's not really nothing there, so I can't see anything here on this one right now. But just keep noticing. Okay, these patterns, they happen all the time. Alright, so just keep looking for them inside. So if you know that you're trading inside a big triangle like we think we are right now, and you see you see something like this, okay, there's not much room down here, so the probability is much higher that we're going in that direction. So it eliminates half of your I guess let's call it what you think is going to happen, and you can concentrate in one direction more so. Okay, that's a big advantage of trading a pattern inside a bigger pattern, because you're bound by the bigger one, okay, in which direction that you're aiming for. Alright, so that's there's nothing going on gold. Let's just keep tracking it and let's see what it gives us. Okay, oops, I'll leave my chart as such and see what happens. Alright, we'll move on. US yen. Okay, let me just go into a daily chart. Remember how I said at the start that the inside word is that the BOJ has stopped buying ETFs, so they've stopped for this year. So they've stopped flooding the market with extra cash, meaning they've stopped weakening their currency, and consequently, well, it's a combination of lots of things. We had the big pullback, okay? So we were talking about 120, we overshot the 120, we nearly hit 122, I think we got as high as about 120, 180, okay? And then we pulled back. We had a crazy day of trading where this day here is like a 315 pip day, which is huge for the yen, okay? And there was everything that was going on, news, data, like the works. So it looks like if they have stopped buying and they have cooled off the easing for the year, we could start to do a little bit of this. Okay, what I've marked out for us on a smaller time frame, on a 4-hour chart, is you can see this area that I've marked, which is acting as a support, or think of it as a table. So I'm going to be interested every time the market comes here. I'm going to be interested in looking for trades at the fringes. Okay, so I just saw this. I didn't notice it before, but I just saw it now. You will see it better on a 1-hour chart. Let me go to my 4-hour, draw it in first properly. And now step into a 1-hour. See what it looks like. Well, that looks alright. Let me fix it up a little bit. Okay. Alright, we've got something there. We've got a triangle converging on a 1-hour chart. You can trade it off a 4-hour chart. If we're going to trade off the 4-hour chart, that's what it looks like. Look for some price action. Look, we're right in the middle of it, or the 1-hour, whatever you like. Okay, one to keep an eye on. Don't forget, mark out this bottom grey area that I've got as well. So this is tricky, because if we break out of there, there's not that much room between there and here. I get the feeling if it does pull down, the acceleration won't happen until we clear this area here. We've got to get through this area before it can really accelerate through. So it's a tough one. Probably I'd say just watch this one just to gain more experience. Alright, but this was a little bit tougher to trade. By the way, there was a really good fishing strip setup on the US yen on a daily chart. Did anybody see it? If I go to my daily and just let me overlay some Bollingers on it. Did anybody see? Look at that. Oops, the chart just moves on me. Did anybody trade that? No? Okay. It was a tough one because you didn't really want to go short against the yen. I didn't trade it, but I just saw it. One person did email me about it as well. I can't remember who it was. I think they traded it, but I just can't remember who it was. So there you go. Alright, so sometimes I just, when I'm looking for counter trend trades, I will have that template on my chart as well. Brett had a small one. Okay, small trade on the GBP. No worries. Okay. Alright, so this week, just observe this triangle just to gain experience. Okay. It's a little bit tougher to trade because there's that heavy support down the bottom. So probably I would say just leave it alone, but just watch it. See, it could turn into a bit of a head and shoulders as well, which would make your entry at this grey area. Okay. Alright, let's move on. Euro yen. There's lots of channels this week everywhere. Euro yen. Okay. Okay, the Euro yen, what do we got here? I'm pretty much at the point where I'm ready to start looking for the fringes. I just want to zoom out a little bit just to see if we have a slight bias. See, I get the feeling that the yen is pretty much going to consolidate now to the end of the year. So it's most yen pairs have had a big movement in yen weakness, and now we might start to have this kind of effect. So I don't know how much it'll give back, but there is a channel ascending in the upward direction here, so we can look for trades this way. Okay, I feel better about it with the euro shorting the yen as opposed to the US. Okay, so what I would suggest is that the next time we come and touch down the bottom here, start to look for it. Okay, of course if we get an indication of going upwards, well then you've got trades there as well. Alright, so one thing that I'll note, that I'll point out to you, see over here that we have the inside candle, this candle 2, this candle is number 1. This one would not have been tradable, okay, because you didn't know there was a channel probably till about here. Alright, you need it because then you got the touches, okay, because if it just broke up there, it could have just then come back down here and then there's no channel. So really, don't beat yourself up. This one here is not tradable. You would not have been able to see it, but now you can. Alright, so if we come back down and touch again, you can trade it now. Does that make sense to everybody? Yep. Okay. All right. So Euro Yen, just wait. Let's just wait this one out. There's nothing there right now. Let me just have a quick look on the daily chart. Who thinks we had a long signal entry there? No, not quite. I got confused. No, there wasn't. I thought there was an inside candle there, but it's not. This one's actually bigger than that one, so no. Okay. That's all I got. Euro Yen, it's not really doing anything. We just have to wait and see what happens on that one. Okay. Let me move on to the next one. Kiwi dollar. Kiwi dollar's been ranging so nice. It's it just continues to do these nice even strokes. It's doing very nice movements. So when this happens, I'm always constantly trying to find those channels for it, so that I can. What I'm trying to predict is if it's going to continue to do these movements, I want to know where these next turning points could be. Okay, so I need to use any tool that I have at my disposal to try and identify where those points are going to be, especially when you can see that it's moving so nicely. All right, so let's have a quick look and let's see what we can find. Let's bring out my fib tools. What have I got here? Okay, I've got nothing matching up. On that side. There is a channel that got... Oh, there's a... Okay, at the very least I've got a top line. Okay, if we look, we've definitely got a top line here. Just ignore the bottom one for a moment. So that means if the market was to come back into this area here, we could look for the trade down or up. Okay, so this, if it came to that area here, this is a little bit less probability because the channel actually got broken throughout this area here, so it's technically not a channel anymore, but the market seems to have a bit of memory in that area. Alright, so it's not the worst thing to do, but it is much lower probability. So let me just modify my chart. And let's just draw in one line. Let's leave this line on our chart. Let's adjust it. And let us see what happens on the next bounce. This bounce here, I don't know where that one's going to be, but I think I know where this one's going to be. Okay, so does that make sense? So I'm not going to trade off this one because I really don't know where that's going to be, but I do think something's going to happen where that second circle is. Okay, so let's get rid of some of this. So I'm going to wait for the market to come back to me here, and then we'll see if we can take some kind of a trade. Alright, does that make sense to everybody? Yep, there's no fib levels, there's nothing other than that line looks pretty good because, you know, look how many touches we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches. So it is a very solid line that's been respected. There's no divergence, there's nothing. Alright, so I just got to wait. Alright, that's Kiwi dollar. Last one, Euro Aussie. Let's have a look. Okay. Euro Aussie. all I can see is this little bit of divergence right now, and well, actually that's a bit of an engulfing candle right now on a 4-hour chart. Is that enough to get us in? Let's zoom in a bit better. Okay, so we can see there, okay, we're going in an upward direction and our indicator is flat, so there's a bit of divergence. Okay, I need to wait till this candle finishes, but when this candle finishes, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be left with a fractal somewhere here, okay, or if not, this is an engulfing candle pattern, okay, as long as we close below that point where we currently are there, alright, which could be an indicator to go short. And someone says it's a channel. Let me just check. Let's have a look. Let's have a look, Lois. It's not the best looking channel. Or are we looking in there? Okay, kind of, yeah. So we've got plenty of touches up the top and down the bottom. Still, everything that we just said about it is still valid, okay, and we're looking to see how these two candles finish up. How much longer for the next candle? I don't have an indicator on this one. Give me 1 second. .36 minutes. Okay, so in 36 minutes we'll know if we have a trade or not. Okay, the only thing I don't like about this trade is it means I'm going to have to trade against the dollar, or actually I'm going to have to, if this goes down, that means we're getting Aussie dollar strength. Okay, and I really don't feel like trading Aussie dollar strength. However, I've got an engulfing candle on the top of support, divergence, why not? Okay, so you've got 35 minutes, come back, look at this candle on the Euro Aussie, and if it looks kind of like what it looks right now, we have a trade. If it sneaks back up, then we don't have a trade. Does that make sense to everybody? Lois, we're looking for an engulfing candle. Okay, so kind of what we have right now. So we want it to stay like that. We want the body of the current candle to swallow up and actually close below. I prefer it to, because it's not a proper engulfing, so I want it to close below the lowest point of the previous candle. So where we are right now is okay, is valid. If it closed right now, we have it. Alright, so that's what we're looking for. Place your stop just above that top candle, so just here somewhere. Let me just mark it for you. Just there. Okay. It is a big stop, alright, it's nearly 100 pips depending on where this candle closes, so just size yourself accordingly. Alright? Any questions? Comments? Let me just recap everything that we've done. Can I have a look at the US CAD? Alright, let's have a quick look at the US CAD. US CAD. It's a big amount of divergence on this right now. It's actually quite noticeable. So there's divergence here. Very, very similar to the Euro Aussie. Okay, so you've got a top line up here that we could probably trade price action. Try and trade price action. This is I'm on a daily chart. Okay, so you wait for a fractal. Okay, if you have the fractal with price action and divergence, that's your trade. Okay, so you need to wait for it. All good? Alright, let me have a quick look. What did we do? Aussie, we're monitoring. Euro USD, we've got a pending sell, stop. GBP, we're trading a triangle inside a channel. Alright, and it looks like we're starting to get a bit of a blue candle here, so keep an eye on it. We could break up or down, doesn't matter, we're ready to hit it. Gold, we're just on the sidelines. US yen, just monitoring, a bit too tough this one. Euro yen, what's the story of the Euro yen? We're just inside the channel, so we're just leaving this one alone. We're waiting for the next approach. Kiwi dollar, we're predicting we're going to come back to this top line, and that's where we're going to take our trade from. And the Euro Aussie, let me change back to the Euro Aussie. What was it? We are trading off a 4-hour chart. We're waiting 31 minutes for the completion of this candle, and if we get what we're looking for, we're going short. Okay,